With us today is already the number 6 quarterback in Redskins history in career passing yards. He is the number 1 rated quarterback in Redskins history. He has the first and the second most yards in a single season in Redskins history, and he's done this all in 2 years since being named their starter. Put your hands together for Redskins quarterback Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I didn't know all those stats. Those are news to me.
Well, it's hard to keep up with them. You keep stockpiling
It's always
them.
evolving.
Can I quickly do this? Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, 29 years old.
So you have the birthday yesterday on a game day. Good or bad thing?
Well, you know, when you look at how did I spend my birthday, I slept in a hotel room at National Harbor and went to a walkthrough, and then I sat around in my hotel room all afternoon, and then got on a bus, played in a game, watched the second half, and then got home at about midnight and went to bed. So not the most, fun, if you will. I mean, I had fun playing football, but it was pretty uneventful, and, I'm not really spending it with family, but it was good. We had a fun time, and the Redskins are my family, so.
Let's talk about the game. You guys played all of 6 plays against Baltimore. You told us on the show last week you'd play a lot more, and you did. Did you expect to play the full first half, or was that because you guys were struggling and Jay just kept trotting you out there to get something going?
I think it's a pretty fluid situation in the preseason. I've always said the better you play, the earlier you're pulled, because you want to get that rhythm and feel like you gain some confidence. And if you do that early, there's no need to keep trotting you out there. If you feel like you're not getting that rhythm and you need to get something going, then you keep going back out. And so in a perfect world, we may have played less last night, but I actually think the pass I threw to Vernon in the red zone that got broken up, that was a little short. Had we hit that, we may not play much longer. And so I think it was maybe a blessing in disguise that we didn't hit that, because then I got to play the whole first half. I did feel like we got in a rhythm and gained some confidence, and we're able to get a better feel for the real thing. So that was a good thing.
How much is it, we want to make sure we establish a rhythm, establish who we are, versus that balance of, hey, let's get off the field here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You obviously want to perform well so you can get off, but you also need the work. What's the balance there?
Yeah, that's why the preseason games are tough, because you don't have a full 4 quarters of work to put together a good game. If you don't start fast, you have a bad game, because you're only playing for a few series. And we didn't start as fast as we wanted to last night, and so it didn't feel as good as we would have liked. Getting that 2-minute drive at the end helped, but we know we need to be better. We would like to think that this next Sunday, if we can get going, have a good outing, hopefully play into the third quarter, that we'll be feeling pretty good. But the biggest thing I noticed was I haven't played in a real football game since late last year, I think January 1st, and so in practice I get a false sense of reality of the pass rush, being that I wear a jersey where they can't hit me, and so if I get sacked, it's just someone comes by and taps me. But in a real game, they're coming, and a strip sack is a real thing. And so, I felt like my clock was going off a little quickly last night, and I needed to just settle in and relax. And I felt like I did that in the second quarter, and that was good to have. But certainly next week on Sunday is something I'm going to look to do, is to feel a little more comfortable back there and get used to that real football.
Redskins quarterback Kirk Cousins here with Grant and Danny. DC Lottery Live in front of a live audience of Redskins fans kind enough to come out and hang out with us today. You get a chance last night to improve on Baltimore, and you ultimately do. But most of the production comes after their starters go off the field, which is nothing you guys can help. Sure. So how do you, after the fact, make sense of, okay, against starters we struggled. We got it going, but against backups. And then also you have fans today that will wake up and go, I don't feel great about how the offense looks. Do you guys feel that, or because you're at practices, do you say this is just a small sample size? Like, how do you try to parse all that up? Yeah,
I think each play is its own reason that it wasn't productive. I look at a couple a third down incompletion to Jamison Crowder early in the game. I just simply misread the coverage, and that can go back to not having a lot of preparation, not getting a good feel for them. It's early in the game. They played that coverage several more times throughout the first half and had a much better feel as the game went on. So that was an incompletion simply because of a poor read of a coverage. Another one was a pass to Vernon Davis, should have been a touchdown. I felt like he beat the guy in man coverage, but the ball was left a little short. We didn't connect on it, and then we're having to kick a field goal. Another play to Jamison Crowder on a play-action pass. There's a great pocket I had all day. He's wide open, and the ball's thrown just a foot or two out of reach, and that's a play that we've been hitting in practice in our sleep. And so, again, some of that is, I don't know if you want to call it, nerves or early season, just trying to get the rust off, get back at it. But some of those plays are there to be made. Everybody's doing their job. It's just we're not executing the way we need to finish the play and complete the play to really be feeling good. So as a result, you don't hit those, then it's 3rd and long, and then you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. So those plays kind of compound each other, and we have to eliminate those if we want to be as successful as we hope to be.
Later on in the game, Samaje had some running room and was Maurice Jones-Drew like knocking people around in the second half. But early on, I feel like you guys didn't get the run going the way you wanted to. From your vantage point, what did you see? I think it was 10 carries, 12 yards for you guys early on. What are you seeing?
Well, I haven't watched the film yet, and I don't have a great vantage point because I hand the ball off and then try to carry out a fake. So I'm not watching too much. And I turn around and say, really? We didn't gain anything? Come on. So it was tough last night. I think we only had about 10 yards rushing in the first half, and obviously that's not going to get it done in the National Football League. But I like our backs. I think Rob Kelly and Samaje and Chris Thompson and the guys we have are going to do a really good job for us this year from a talent standpoint. Our offensive line we feel really good about. So I'd like to think that their pieces are there. Obviously, we love Bill Callahan as an offensive line coach, and we like the scheme. So it's a little puzzling as to why it wasn't more productive because you look at the different pieces and you feel like they're in place. But obviously, one guy gets beat in his gap or they defeat a block and the play's dead. We've got to find a way to be in sync enough where there is a hole and we can be consistently gaining yards because that certainly makes my life easier when we're running the ball well.
I think you'd probably hate playing for me as a play caller, Grant McVay. I would never run again on first down in the history of the Redskins. I would never run again on first down. There's nothing worse than 2nd and 12, so that would never happen again. I don't know if you want to play for me or not, but that's the rule if you want to play for me.
You know what? As long as we can have a high completion percentage and get in 2nd and manageable, that wouldn't be a bad idea. But
right, good.
Yeah.
We've got an opportunity to take questions from you guys today. Where's the crowd mic at, actually? Who's got that?
Right there.
Right here? Okay, cool. So we will pass that out if you want to. Oh, right here. You want to control it, Thami? So Jay, we can start with, who's here, and we can kind of go around the horn. If you guys have questions,
this is great, by the way.
Why
Thanks
we're
for
doing
coming
this.
out, and I love taking questions from the audience face to face. This is cool.
So we've been working your guys' questions for Kirk. Danny and I get to talk to him every single week, and we should point out, thanks to Kirk, he's with us again this season. Was loyal to us and stayed with us on 106.7 The Fan, which was very, very cool, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I think it's been a great thing the last couple of years. I've really enjoyed being able to debrief, after the game each week. I think it's a healthy thing for me to kind of talk through, good or bad, what happened, and kind of allow you guys to vent a little bit and express, what you felt. And I think it's a good way to stay connected to the fan base, which ultimately is what this is all about.
Appreciate it. Go ahead.
First off, as a fan, we all behind you.
Thank you.
We love you, man. Just do your best out there. Second off, Ryan Grant is the second shortest guy out of 12 people on the team. Why throw a fade right there?
Sure. Yeah. That's a good question.
By the way, the first fan question is about a fade. I want that reminded months from now.
A little bit backstory there. So first of all, we're not trying to run our best plays in the red zone right now in the preseason. So going into the game, I remember looking at the call sheet the night before in the hotel and looking at Coach Gruden like, is this all we got down here? It's a slim pickings. And I said, and some of these plays, a lot of times we'll call 2 or sometimes 3 plays in the huddle to say, if we don't get the coverage we want, this play's dead, we're going to get to the second play. And then I'll alert a third play if that second play is not ideal. And in this case, we're calling 1 play and we're running it. And so he called, we called that play, and I said, it's really meant for a certain coverage, and we may not get that coverage. He said, just run it. It's the preseason. Let's just try to get some work. So right away, we're like, this isn't ideal, but let's give ourselves a chance. And I didn't want to take a sack, so I just threw it up. The other alternative is nothing's open. Let me just scramble and try to make something happen. And that's what we talk about is when to do that. When a play's dead, when do you just take off, try to make something happen, and when do you throw it out of bounds and live for the next play?
That's actually really good insight, though, because I don't think people have a good understanding how little game planning goes in or how little almost you guys care what Green Bay's doing last night. Like, it's all about you focusing on yourselves, whereas all week long in week 1, it's about the Eagles.
Right. I think the first 2 preseason games are less about our opponent. The third preseason game is a dress rehearsal. We do spend the whole week trying to give our new players, our rookies who are going to have a vital role this season, get a feel for this is what a game week looks like. This is how the schedule plays out. This is how you need to handle your business to be ready for Sunday so that they get used to that routine. Because up until this point, we haven't been in that routine. And, we will study Cincinnati, and we will, the best we can, be ready for what they do. But at the same time, our playbook will still be limited, and we're not trying to give away everything, in week 3 of the preseason.
Let's go into that red zone, because last year, if you guys were, I would say, as good as you were in 2015 or league average, you'd have been a top 5 scoring offense in the league.
Correct.
We talked about it every week, and I'm sure you were sick of our questions about it. But at this point now, how do you feel about some of the red zone stuff with the bigger receivers and the design and everything else? Give me sort of a confidence level and where you guys are at.
I think we saw it again last night that everything happens faster in the red zone. It's so much tighter. Vernon wins versus man coverage. He's open. The ball is left. I don't know. I haven't seen the film, but I'm guessing it was left 6 inches, a foot short. As a result, the DB gets his hand in and breaks up the pass. It's a good throw. It's not a great throw, and 6 inches is the difference. And, as a quarterback, you're like, man, I wish I didn't have to throw it 6 inches more perfectly to be able to complete it, but at the same time, that's the way it is in the red zone. So that's the challenge, is there's just such small room for error. And then when we did score, Jameson found a seam. He sat in the front, end zone, and for whatever reason, the coverage was softer, and we were able to bang it on him. But a lot of times they drop those guys, and everybody's covered, and it is a tight area to work. So we've got to get better. It helps to run the ball down there. Again, if you can run the ball, you're more efficient. You don't have to go against these drop 8 coverages. We kept trying to want to work Josh Doxson on some individual routes down there, but they kept doubling him and bringing a safety over the top, and so we weren't able to.
Let's get another fan question. Just tell us your name, where you drove in from.
Matt from Stafford.
Matty in Stafford.
Before I get to my question, Thom, may I touch Scott's jacket?
That's the jacket.
By the way,
jacket.
That's Scott McLuhan's jacket.
I think that's awesome.
Scott's jacket's here, everybody. Scott's jacket.
Scott's jacket.
I'm here with my lovely wife, Katie, and my son, Marshall. We're a Big Ten family, and Big Ten Nation's always rooting for you, Kirk.
Awesome. Thank you.
For all the current NFL quarterbacks that are active right now, who do you most communicate with?
Good
Ooh,
question.
interesting.
Yeah. What I think is funny is that I am a peer now of these NFL quarterbacks, I guess you can say. But so many of them I grew up watching, okay? I mean, I was in middle school when Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl. I was a 7th grader. I remember in 5th or 6th grade watching Drew Brees take Purdue to a Rose Bowl, watching him as a fan, as a 5th or 6th grader. So now I'm supposed to go out in the field and find ways to play better than them and beat them when, 15 years ago, I was just a kid on the couch watching them as a fan, doing the same thing they're doing right now. So it's a weird thing to say I'm a peer of theirs because I don't feel that way. But every year I play, I feel a little bit more like I belong, I guess. And who I communicate with, I meet these guys in the offseason at different events like the Pro Bowl or different conferences that I'll go to or the NFL PA meetings. And those guys that are there are the ones I connect with mostly. So it was a privilege to be around Drew Brees last year at the Pro Bowl. Dak Prescott was also there. But it was cool to talk to Drew because we run a very similar offense, and he's had so much success and is going to be a Hall of Famer. And to just hear how he goes about his business and everything from the way he prepares every week to the way he takes care of his body in the offseason to how he deals with his family and his role as a dad. Really, really cool to get to talk to him. And even having Aaron Rodgers come over and say hello yesterday in warm-ups is fun to talk to a guy like that. So, I do feel like I'm living a dream when I get to talk to those guys.
Who's your number 1 QB in the league right now?
That's a great question. I think it's really – I'm probably forgetting somebody, but I think it's 2 guys. You got Tom Brady, who just the body of work speaks for itself. And then what Aaron Rodgers does is so unique to Aaron. Nobody else seems to have that arm strength, that quick release, the quick twitch with his feet, and the ability to make plays off schedule. And I think that separates him in his own category. And I see those 2 guys as being at the top of the game. And, a guy like Drew Brees or Phillip Rivers or the list goes on and on, they aren't far behind.
You talked about sort of you kind of pinch yourself. You wake up, you're 29, and you're a peer of these guys. You are. You're in the league. You put up numbers. You've done some things. How comfortable are you now, I guess is what I would say, sort of taking on that leadership role as somebody, because Grant and I both obsessed over this. Years ago, there was a Hard Knocks where Matt Ryan interrupts a receivers meeting, stops and asks the assistant coach to change it on a different thing because he wanted to see something, and he corrected the receiver, and everyone was kind of like, "Thanks for stopping by, Matt. It was an honor to have you." That's the kind and we just both swooned. You know what I'm talking about? We both swooned. We're like, "Oh my God, bring me this."
Julio, throttle that down at 9. And everyone's like,
yeah,
it was great.
It's Lord Ryan. He's spoken to us. It was amazing, right?
Well said.
So at this stage, is that something that probably year 1 as a starter, you may not be interrupting meetings, but what about now? Talk about that evolution.
Yes, it is an evolution. It's a process, and I'm somewhere in the middle. 2 years ago, with star receivers in Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson, who had Pierre's played in the Super Bowl. Deshaun has played with great players and played in playoff games, and he's years ahead of me. You're not going to walk in the meeting and they're not going to treat you like Lord Ryan, okay? It's not going to be that way. So you know that the way to handle that is to defer a little bit and ask questions and learn and gather information. That's the best way. And then there comes a time when you're talking to a rookie now, and it's okay. I'm the elder statesman, if you will, like it or not, and it's time to speak up. It's time to voice your opinion. Even with play calling, it's time to have more of a say. And so it's a process. I'm somewhere in the middle, and I think it'll be an interesting storyline this season to see where we end up. How much control do I have? How much do I want? And where are we most efficient when I'm really voicing into guys or just kind of letting it happen?
The only quarterback in the 2000s for the Redskins to lead the team to consecutive winning seasons, Kirk Cousins, here on Grant and Danny. Let's get another question from the audience. Tom's with Scott's jacket has passed out the mic.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing?
Alan from Landover. On a night like last night where FedEx Field looked like Lambeau East and you heard all the "Go Pack Go" roaring from the crowd, as players, are you cognizant of all the things that have happened to lead to that point, or are you looking at it like, oh, these fans are terrible? Because, I mean, you might not have been through the 20 years of lack of playoff success,
right?
Or it might not be your fault that everybody hates the owner and the team president, but we like fired the best general manager that we've had in forever. So like all these things add up to what happens, but because like certain guys like Sewell Cravens and Bashad Breeland, like they sometimes attack fans on Twitter and they both block me. So like I just
this is getting very personal, but I get the question.
I can answer that.
The question
you get them to
is,
unblock me?
as you're on the sideline and you hear "Go Pack Go," are you
Sure.
guys saying, "Man, this is not good"?
Well, think about this. A couple of times when they started cheering "Go Pack Go," we had the momentum. We were rolling. I mean, one time we were at the 2-minute drill and we were driving down the field and we're like knocking on the door and we had just hit a couple of big plays. And because there was a stoppage, whether it was a timeout or whatever, it gives them a chance to start yelling "Go Pack Go." And I'm like, that's great. But like right now in the moment, they're not going. Like we're the ones going. So there's some level of they can do that all they want. At the end of the day, the product on the field is going to determine who's saying that at the end of the game. And then also the Packers have a great fan base. You can go anywhere. They're going to travel well. They're going to show up. And, D.C. at times can be a transplant community. We're going to have a lot of fans from other teams live here in this city, and that's going to attract, opposing teams to bring a lot of fans. But I think at the end of the day, we control ultimately fans' interest. If we're winning, if we're playing well, they're going to show up. They're going to be there. They're going to have our backs, and they're going to cheer for us. And if we don't put a good product on the field, shame on us, and we shouldn't expect anything from them. So I think it's our job to own that and to be ready to put a good product on the field because you guys are dying to cheer for us. And as I've said, we got to give you something to cheer about.
That's worthy of an ovation. That's worthy of an ovation.
Now would be a good time.
This would be a good time to go crazy.